In today's video, I'm going to be going over 10 tips that have helped me in my poker journey so far. These tips are definitely going to be for beginners, people just getting into the game, or people who are interested in it. So let's go ahead and get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, leaving your guys' comments below so I can interact with y'all as much as I can. I really appreciate the support so far. Coming in at number 1, always look at your cards the same. I know it may sound simple, but there are many times where a lot of people are going to be checking their cards in different ways, and that can be a huge tell for some players. If you have a card protector, put the card protector on your cards. If you're going to fold them, if you're going to be playing with them, just always do the same thing. Consistency is key, as you don't want to give away any information to what your hand is going to be. Number 2, when you do look at your cards, make sure you don't have to look again. So if you have, let's say, pocket aces and you have ace of diamonds, ace of clubs, just remember you have those too, because if the board comes out 3 diamonds and you have the ace of diamonds, you always want to make sure that you have that and you're not looking back and checking. Just like earlier, you're trying to give away as little as information as possible. Number 3, if you're tired, don't play. We all know that when you're tired, your play in your game is just not going to be where it needs to be. You want to be playing at your absolute best, so don't be playing when you're tired. Get some rest, walk away from the game. You can get really tilted a lot easier if you're not playing careful. And this can happen a lot easier when you're tired. Number 4, we all know the memes, everyone's seen it, of Daniel Negreanu saying, don't have your phone at the table.
Can't be like all loosey-goosey having a sandwich, being on your phone. Woohoo, baby, I love it.
This is true. Pay attention the whole time for my tip number 4. Don't have any distractions, pay attention the whole time, because a lot of the time when you're watching your other opponents and taking mental notes or physical notes at the table, you can pick up a lot of tells from some of the players, especially a lot of beginners. I'm typically just a 1-2 and or 1-3 cash player, and there's a lot of things that I'm picking up from a lot of these opponents. Number 5, you always want to know how much you have in front of you. Make sure that you have this number in your mind at all times, because sometimes situations get a little bit sticky and you want to be making sure that you're making the correct plays with the amount of money that you have in front of you, because you can't add money on or deduct money from your stack in the middle of a hand. Number 6, we're tying a little bit into number 5. You always want to know how much your opponents have in front of them. In a casino, it's relatively easy to always keep track of other people's stacks because they're going to be taking them straight from the rack, and you always know that one stack of reds is always going to be $100 and so on. So if you see 3 stacks of red, they're always going to have $300 relatively. So that's an easy way to always make sure how much is in your opponent's stacks. Same thing goes with your opponents. You always want to know how much they have, because you don't want to get into too sticky of situations with the amount of money that they have. Like if you're going up against the big stack, you have a marginal hand, you may not want to get too sticky with that, because you can end up losing your entire stack easily. Number 7, always know what position you're in. Here I can have a diagram being shown for you guys what position there is. There's the button, the small blind, the big blind, under the gun +1, under the gun +2, middle position, low jack, hijack, and the cutoff. The button is going to be the best position you want to be in. That's going to be known as in position. And the small blind is going to be the worst position you can be at the table. And so on and so forth. We're going to be going clockwise as the positions get better and better. Small blind being the worst and the button being the best. The reason the small blind is the worst position is because you are going to be acting first, and poker is all about giving away as little as information as possible. So since the button gets to act last, they will be in the best position. Number 8, stay in the proper bankroll for your game. For myself, since I don't have a huge bankroll, I'm playing at the lowest stakes possible, $1, $2, or $1, $3, just depending on what they have going at each casino that I go into. If I go down $200, I'm not going to immediately step up the stakes and try to just win my money back, because that's just a disaster waiting to happen. Always stay in the proper game that your bankroll allows you to. Number 9, understand what pot odds are. Pot odds are the ratio of size between the size of the pot and the size of a bet. So you always want to make sure what a good call would be. So if there's, let's say, $100 in the pot and you have a pretty decent hand, and someone's betting only $10 into $100, that's 11-1 of your pot odds that you're going to be winning, because you only need to risk 10 of your dollars to possibly win 110. So even if you have something decent, you're like, oh, what the heck? It's only $10. I might as well just try to see, because I'm risking such a little amount for such a big win. And the same thing goes. If you have a decent hand, there's $100 in the pot, and someone is betting 90, it's probably not going to be a good call unless you have a read on your opponent, as your pot odds are going to be much, much less. And of course, these are drastic examples, but I think they get the point across. And for number 10, this is going to be my last tip to help a lot of you beginner players such as myself going into casinos for your first times, is that if you have a bad table, a very passive table with not a lot of action, you can always switch tables. You always want to sit down with the people who are throwing money around like crazy, where you can really get involved. That's what it's all about, because if you're at a table where people are only playing their premiums, you're really only going to win if you have luck on your side at that point. I mean, yeah, you can try to play some type of position, but it's a lot harder than if you're playing at a table where people are just tossing money around like it's nothing. Always find the players who are just throwing money in the middle and take advantage of it. So overall, those are my top 10 tips if you guys want to become a better poker player. Those are the things that I have learned so far in my poker journey throughout only a couple of years. And I just hope to continue to get better and pass on any knowledge that I gained throughout this journey myself. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know if you guys want to have some type of part 2, as I would love to go ahead and explain a little bit more of my thought process for trying to become a better poker player. Don't forget, again, leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. I really appreciate your guys' support as always, and I will see you next time.